Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into what has been an absolutely explosive, high-stakes transfer window in the world of global payments. Just like a wild match day in soccer, we're seeing unexpected substitutions, aggressive new strategies, and some massive plays that are literally changing the financial landscape right before our eyes. So lace up your cleats and let's get right into the play-by-play.
Here's our matchday lineup for today. We'll start with the kickoff, then check out Nuvei's preseason roster build, move into the AI opening goal dispute, look at Adyen's halftime strategy swap, and then wrap it all up with the final whistle.
All right, part one, the kickoff to the fintech transfer window. To set the stage here, think of this past week in fintech kind of like a chaotic soccer group stage. You've got companies aggressively subbing out their corporate rosters, all to prepare for this completely new era of digital commerce.
Moving right along to match one, Nuvei's preseason roster build. Let's take a look at the Montreal-based payments processor, Nuvei. They recently agreed to a massive $2.75 billion buyout of Payoneer, and honestly, they're making some incredibly aggressive moves right out of the gate.
And Nuvei already has a heavy-hitting background. They were founded back in 2003 and then taken private by Adyen International earlier in 2024 at a staggering $6.3 billion valuation. Plus, they already process payments in over 190 countries. But here's where it gets really interesting. Acquiring Payoneer gives them immediate access to these vital cross-border rails used by giants. We're talking Amazon, Fiverr, eBay, and Airbnb. So they're setting themselves up for a truly massive global footprint.
To put that into perspective, with these combined forces, this new, unified platform is expected to handle roughly $500 billion in annual payment volume. Let that sink in for a second. $500 billion. That is an enormous amount of capital flowing through their systems every single year.
But here's the twist, and honestly, it's the real reason we're talking about them today. To manage that $500 billion, Nuvei did something almost unprecedented. Before the ink was even dry on the Payoneer merger, they aggressively subbed in 3 new C-suite executives, a new COO, a new CPO, and a new CFO. I mean, you just don't overhaul your front office mid-merger unless you've got a very specific, aggressive game plan.
And that game plan? It comes down to one core philosophy. The combined company needs to be AI native and agentic from day one, not retrofitted later. They are playing for extra time by building a roster that's fully prepared for artificial intelligence before the season even officially starts. They aren't just playing to survive the season, right? They want to completely dominate this new technological era.
Which brings us to match 2, the AI opening goal dispute. Because while Nuvei is busy prepping their front office, a massive turf war has suddenly erupted on the field between 2 major networks over who actually scored the very first real-world AI goal in commerce.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding what everyone is fighting over. It's called an agentic card payment. What is that? Well, it's basically when an AI agent browses, selects, and pays for a product entirely on your behalf. There's absolutely zero human handoff. Your AI talks to the merchant's AI, the transaction happens, and your item just arrives. It's fully automated purchasing.
And here we have our competing teams. Let's play referee for a sec. Visa and CaixaBank recently put out a press release claiming they completed Europe's first real-world agentic card payment. But hold on, because Mastercard threw up a flag. Mastercard claims that no, they actually did it a week earlier in France, partnering up with Crédit Agricole and Worldline. So you've got 2 global networks, 2 press releases, and 1 highly contested opening goal.
But you know what? Here is the real story. Agent-initiated payments just went live in production. Neither of these were isolated, carefully controlled lab demos. Visa used real card data, standard merchant checkout systems, and their existing tokenization and fraud monitoring infrastructure. They pushed their agent-ready program live across over 30 European banks, including heavyweights like Barclays and Revolut. The big takeaway here? Agent-initiated payments aren't some distant sci-fi future anymore. They literally just went live.
All right, let's look at match 3, Adyen's halftime strategy swap. We've talked about aggressive preseason team building and live on-field AI deployments. Now let's see how Adyen, a payments veteran with 20 years of history under their belt, finally made a highly calculated move off the bench.
Get this. For essentially 2 whole decades, from 2006 to 2023, Adyen did 0 mergers and acquisitions. Nothing.
Nada. But then all that patience just vanished on one really busy Wednesday in August 2024. They acquired Talon One, a loyalty company, for 750 million euros, and Orb, a billing company, for roughly 335 million US dollars. Their very first acquisitions ever, dropping all at once. But wait, they didn't stop at just buying companies. The very same day they announced over $1 billion in deals, they also announced a massive halftime leadership swap. Their CFO of roughly 3 years, Ethan Tandowski, departed on August 31st. They immediately named an interim CFO, Haushwad Sao, and brought in a brand new chief product officer, Gayatri Rajan. 2 decades of sitting quietly, suddenly followed by massive acquisitions and a total front office shakeup in a single press release.
Now, you might see a longtime CFO leave during massive spending and think, uh-oh, the company's in trouble. However, Adyen is actually still guiding to an incredibly strong 20 to 22% net revenue growth for 2026. So this isn't a distress signal, it's a highly calculated, aggressive substitution. They realized their newly expanding platform needed fresh legs to carry it into the second half, and they made the swap exactly when they needed to.
Finally, Part 5, the final whistle. We've seen Nuvei's preemptive strike, the Visa and Mastercard AI turf war, and Adyen's sudden pivot. Let's tie all these aggressive substitutions together and look at what they actually mean for the future of your digital wallet.
What these 3 case studies clearly demonstrate to us is that the old days of slow, cautious, organic fintech growth, they're completely dead. We've officially entered a new era. It's an era defined by immediate roster overhauls to ensure day-one AI integration. It's an era where production-level AI agents are already out there buying things without our input. And it's an era where even the most patient giants will execute massive multi-deal pivots in a single day just to stay in the game.
And that leaves us with this final thought. The underlying rails of how you buy, sell, and interact with the global economy are literally being ripped out and replaced with autonomous technology as we speak. The Agentic Commerce World Cup just kicked off, the players are on the field, and the ball is definitely in play. So the only question is, when it comes to managing your future digital life, whose roster is actually ready? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eye on the field.